You know, in sports, we always talk about the legendary players. But what about the legends behind the scenes? The innovators, the system builders, the ones who write a blueprint for winning that works anywhere, with any team. Well, we're going to dive into the story of a coach who built a dynasty not with five-star recruits, but with a radical, relentless system.
So let me ask you this. It's the biggest question in sports, especially at the high school level. You can't just go out and recruit the biggest, fastest, strongest athletes in the country. So what do you do? How do you compete? How do you dominate? It feels like an impossible puzzle to solve.
Well, it turns out it's not impossible. See, this one coach, Tim Murphy, he spent pretty much 30 years proving that the answer isn't always about getting better players. It's about having a better system. And his results? They were absolutely historic. We're talking about delivering the first ever section title, which is a huge regional championship, to 3 different teams that were going nowhere.
And our story starts at a place that, let's be honest, nobody wanted to be. Back in 1996, Murphy was the only person who even applied for the head coaching job at Ygnacio Valley High. This was a team that was lucky to win a couple of games a year for the better part of a decade.
And the turnaround? It was just staggering. I mean, he took a 3-7 team that was a total afterthought, and in just a few short years, turned them into section champions, a record-breaking powerhouse. The change wasn't just big, it was immediate and absolute.
So how in the world did he do it? With numbers. Insane numbers. Like this one. In 1999, his team at Ygnacio Valley rushed for 5,019 yards. Just let that sink in for a second. That is nearly 3 miles of rushing in a single season. It was a record for all of Northern and Central California.
Now, you're probably thinking, okay, they must have had some absolute monsters on the offensive line to do that, right? Nope, not even close. His O-line averaged just 208 pounds a man. They weren't bigger than their opponents. They were just better coached, running a system that was designed to make size almost completely irrelevant.
And that system, that was his secret weapon. It wasn't flashy, it was definitely not what the pros were running on Sundays, but man, oh man, was it brutally effective. It was called the double wing offense.
All right, so what is this thing? Think of the double wing as just a ground-and-pound, smash-mouth formation. The whole idea relies on precision and teamwork over just raw athletic talent. The entire setup is built for misdirection, for creating perfect blocking angles that let smaller linemen use leverage to just overwhelm bigger defenders. It was literally designed to be the great equalizer, and in Murphy's hands, it sure was.
You want to know how reliable this system was, how much faith he had in it? Get this. In the year 2000, his team went for it on 4th down 47 times, and they converted 38 of them. That's an 80% success rate. That's almost unheard of. It just shows you a coach who had total belief in his system and players who executed it to perfection.
But, it wasn't an easy sell. Murphy himself said the hardest part was just convincing people, the kids, the parents, even other coaches. I mean, imagine trying to sell this gritty, old-school offense in image-conscious California, where everyone's obsessed with the flashy stuff they see in college and the NFL. He was a true innovator, totally going against the grain.
So, after he proved his blueprint could turn a team around, Murphy took on an even bigger challenge. How about building a program from scratch? In 2000, he took a job at the brand-new Clovis East High School.
And somehow, the results were even more mind-blowing. He didn't just build a good team. He created the winningest new school in the history of California football. The program just exploded onto the national scene. They got a top 25 ranking in USA Today. He was named State Coach of the Year, and he even won an ESPY award for a high school coach.
And this wasn't some one-hit wonder, folks. This was a legitimate dynasty. We're talking 8 straight playoff trips, 6 league championships, and 2 CIF state championships. That's the top prize. All at a school that was literally just a patch of dirt a few years earlier. The blueprint was now dominating on the biggest stage.
For his final act, Murphy took over at Clayton Valley Charter in 2012. Now, this was a different kind of challenge. This wasn't a turnaround job, and it wasn't building from scratch. This was about taking an already solid program and elevating it to a place it had never been. This was about perfecting the blueprint.
And how do you perfect perfection? Well, you do it with another number that just breaks your brain. In 2014, his Clayton Valley team rushed for 7,055 yards. That is over 4 miles. It didn't just shatter the state record, it led the entire nation.
But here's what's really fascinating about this chapter. He evolved. Yeah, his foundation was that insane ground and pound attack from 2014. But by his final season in 2022, his team actually threw for more yards than they ran for. He adapted his system, proving that his philosophy was always more important than any single formation.
And you want to hear the ultimate irony? After all this talk about his offensive genius, when he finally won that state championship in 2019, it wasn't some 50-point blowout. Nope, it was a gritty, ugly 10-7 defensive slugfest. It just proved he wasn't just an offensive guru. He was a complete coach who knew how to win. Period.
So when you put it all together, what really is the legacy of Tim Murphy? Well, it's a story of transformation, of incredible consistency, and of a powerful belief that the system is king.
I mean, the pattern's just undeniable. You've got 3 different schools in 3 completely different situations. A forgotten program, a brand new school, and an already good program. And he delivered their first ever major championships to all of them. He made them all legendary.
And the numbers, they just speak for themselves. Over his whole career, 20 league championships, 7 section championships, and a state title. This wasn't luck. This was a masterfully executed blueprint, year after year after year.
Ultimately, it was never really about the double wing. That was just the tool he used. The real blueprint, the secret sauce, was his core philosophy. A simple belief that perfect technique, unbelievable teamwork, and just relentless preparation could beat raw talent any day of the week. And for 3 decades, he proved it.
And that leaves us with one final thought, one of the oldest debates in all of sports. In the quest for a championship, what really matters more? Chasing after that superstar player or building a truly unstoppable system? I think Tim Murphy's career suggests the real answer is found on the whiteboard.